I'm temporarily stuck at home with a flat tire, so let's talk about some myths and misconceptions around herbalism. Myth number one, believing in plants means not believing in science. That cannot be further from the truth. In fact, even though they look really different nowadays, most of today's modern medicines were derived from plants originally. They're in a much more simplified and concentrated form nowadays, but the basics are still there. In fact, there are plenty of herbalists out there, like myself, who believe that modern medicine and herbalism should walk hand in hand together. They just need to be used when they're most appropriate. For instance, someone who has diabetes needs insulin, but somebody who has a tummy ache could probably do some peppermint tea. That's obviously a very simplified example, but you get the point. Myth number two is that herbalism is some sort of woo woo fad. Actually, it's been around a very long time. It's one of the oldest forms of medicine, second only to touch, I believe. And every culture has its own herbal practice. And if you're interested in learning about some cultural herbal practices from your family, you can look it up in books or online or ask someone else like related to you or within your same culture. I actually learned that fennel is endemic to the island that my family is from and that they used it for digestive upset in adults as well as for colic in babies. Not only do herbs and herbalism in general have scientific studies to back them up, there's also generations and thousands of years of people with their own experiences that have been documented through trial and error. The third myth or misconception is that since herbs are natural, they're always safe. That is really dangerous, actually. One of my favorite principles is actually that the difference between medicine and poison is dosage. Just because something is natural doesn't mean that it can't be outright poisonous, and something normally fine at much higher doses could become poison. Not to mention that some plants aren't good for certain people with their constitutions in their body or with whatever ailment that they have, any sort of disease that could be contraindicated, or medication that they're taking with that it could interact with. And most of the herbs that we work with on a day to day basis are pretty gentle and would take a pretty high dose to hurt somebody, but you should always know the indications and contraindications before using or giving an herb to somebody else. This is why working with a trained herbalist such as myself is really helpful because I will already know most of those, or if not, I have the resources to find out. And if you're still struggling through some myths, misconceptions, misinformation, there's so much out there, and you don't know how to wade through it or you want someone to walk with you, go ahead and give me a follow.